Teacher recruitment and retention remain critical issues. Beyond financial incentives, what innovative strategies would you pursue to keep educators in small rural communities really long term?
I would do that by doing exactly what I do in my day job, in teacher recruitment, teacher support. The challenge is not finding people that want to be teachers. It's giving people that are teachers and want to be teachers reason to get into the profession. So we have a number of people that want to be teachers. The idea is to increase the and expand the residency model, where new and pre-service teachers are in residency programs where they can earn a stipend and be able to take care of their families with this grow your own type of an ideology. Beyond pay and retention is giving teachers a sense of belonging in their schools. If we're paying teachers a thriving wage, they're able to live in their communities. They're able to thrive and survive. It is really difficult to be a teacher. You deal with quite a bit of bureaucracy, challenges in the classroom. Anybody on this call that has been a teacher, is a teacher, we know what it is, but we do it because our hearts are in it. So the ability to thrive as a person, but also to be able to function in your classroom. We do that with partnerships through the CSU system. My program that I work with, Cal State Teach, is housed out of Fresno State, working with community colleges and rural districts to create pipelines to make credentialing more accessible, especially for primary care teachers, and making affordable hybrid options for becoming teachers and being supported as teachers. Thank you.
I was meeting with a small school district superintendent recently she told me that about a quarter of her staff commutes south more than an hour to get to their school, and a quarter of their staff commutes north to get to the school. We know that housing costs are having a tremendous impact on all workplaces throughout the state, but particularly affordability issues with teachers are incredibly relevant. Workforce housing needs to be an important part of what the SPI does. It needs to be an important part of what the CDE does. We all know that teachers and administrators also need more collaboration and planning time. That's particularly relevant in small school districts where you have teachers and administrators who are taking on greater and greater responsibility and have less specialization, less opportunities for specialization because they have fewer staff in those districts. Collaboration and planning time overall has decreased in this state, in most school districts in this state, by about 18% over the past 10 years. And we know it's badly needed. We know there's not a decreased need for collaboration and partnership time. So I think those are two areas of focus that the next superintendent of public instruction needs to focus on. Those are sort of the out of the box ideas that haven't been worked on lately.
So you're hitting on an issue that's been a big passion and priority for me. For the last two legislative sessions, I've been championing, even though your question was other than financial incentives, I want to acknowledge that, survey after survey shows that the number one reason why more young people are not interested in becoming teachers is because of the relatively low salaries compared to other professions, that have similar educational requirements. And so, I'm proud that I've been championing the Fair Pay for Educators Act, not just to pay our teachers more, but to specifically tie that to increased base grant funding through the local control funding formula so that districts have the resources to be able to pay their teachers more. But beyond that, I've also tried to address the financial obstacles to becoming a teacher. So this year I was very proud that I introduced a bill that became what we call a budget play, $300 million of budget play specifically to provide stipends to student teachers, because we know that, in the process of getting their credentials, the financial challenge of working on their credential without getting paid is often too much for again, potential teacher candidates. And so that's also something that I will continue to champion. But, for my visits, again, to Shasta, a few years ago, Madera County recently, I heard especially the challenge in getting more special education teachers out in the rural communities. And I think that's a reflection of the larger challenge in getting more healthcare providers in rural communities. But I would like to explore, you know, similar to what we're trying to do with nursing programs, can we get more community college teacher credentialing programs? Because we know that there are more community colleges in rural districts so that we can address the supply issue.
When you go last, you get to agree with everybody. So I actually, 2 years ago, as chair of Senate Education, I chaired a hearing on the state of the educated workforce in California. And it is challenged across the board, but those challenges are especially pronounced in rural areas. And to everybody's points here, pay is a big deal. But more generally, teachers and staff tend to stay where they feel they're seen, where they're supported, and where they're part of something bigger. And in rural communities, that's especially hard. So to Nichelle's point, grow your own programs are so important. And we need to do two things. We need to elevate respect for and the appeal of the teaching profession as early as possible and provide pathways within the K through 12 setting, and then partnerships with community colleges to make sure that we have the resources and the capacity to develop those programs and provide credentialing programs and feed them directly into those small school districts in rural areas. Housing and transportation, to my colleague's point, no small thing at all, especially transportation in areas where teachers are traveling vast distances. And then professional development across the span of their careers to make sure that they have all the resources and the support and respect that they need to feel valued and essential to the mission in those small communities, which is so important. And last, and I think somebody touched on it, in addition to workload support, mental health supports. It has gotten really hard to be a teacher in the current era. And we need to make sure that we're as attentive to teachers' needs as we try to be to students as well.